And as we mentioned, it's not just Capitol Hill that is facing uncertainty stemming from President Trump's priorities. Millions of government workers are dealing with another day of confusion about whether to respond to the directive from Elon Musk requiring them to provide a list of their recent work accomplishments or face termination. A counselor to the president said today there will be, quote, repercussions if workers do not respond to the email from the Office of Personnel Management. But at the White House podium today, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said ultimately it will be up to the agency heads to determine the best practices. And now, NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hillyard joins me now. Vaughn, there's a lot of confusion, as we mentioned, about this OPM email and whether federal workers need to respond. What is the administration saying today, and are they attempting to clarify anything?
Right. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, I guess you could say, provided some clarity by saying that government workers do not have to respond to the email that is coming from Elon Musk's DOGE's team if their agency head or department secretary tells them that they don't need to. And that is where, for more than 48 hours, almost 72 hours, there was discrepancy between the messages that were coming directly from the Oval Office. President Trump just yesterday suggesting that folks who don't respond to the email with their list of 5 accomplishments would be, quote, semi-fired, was a little bit different than Elon Musk, who in 2 different messages said that the failure to respond would be an automatic resignation, compared to those agency heads and secretaries that were directly ordering their government workers in their respective agencies to not respond. And that is where the clarity from the podium by the press secretary here today, at least in terms of the message that was communicated to the press through media, attempted to clarify what has been very unclear to a great many government workers, including some who I've talked to, that said that they don't understand exactly what they are to respond to or not to respond to because of the mixed messaging of what is in their email inboxes versus what they see on social media from Elon Musk.
And Vaughn, the reaction to these cuts and layoffs continue to trickle in. Federal workers are just learning about what their futures, what their future holds. What are you hearing?
Right. I know, Gabe, you have had conversations, and other colleagues of ours have had conversations with government workers over the last several weeks, some who were terminated or placed on administrative leave. And there was great hesitancy to come forward and speak publicly out of the hope that their government jobs would return and that they would continue to exist. But over the course of the last month and a half, we have seen thousands after thousands more be terminated. Just last night, late last night, I was on the phone with Phil Sussman, who was a 10-year Army vet who took a job at the USAID, working at the Middle East Bureau on the Syria desk. And he took this job back in November, moved his family up from Florida, his wife and 3 children, for this job before receiving his termination notice last night. And in the letter of his termination, being told that the government had determined that it was in the best interest of the U.S. government to terminate him. Take a listen to part of our conversation when I asked him what his message would be to President Trump and Elon Musk.
This isn't a meme. This isn't a tweet. This is myself and my wife and my 3 children who don't know how we're going to pay the mortgage next month. You know, this is someone that has spent people that I work with that have spent their entire lives dedicated to helping others, sacrificing for others.
And Phil emphasized that this goes beyond just the personal for him and these workers, but also the work that they did. I mentioned that he worked at the Syria desk. He used to serve while in the army in northern Syria, and he effectively was working for USAID as an intermediary, working for the agency with partners that are on the ground, as well as with Department of Defense soldiers that are still active on the ground in Syria. That job now effectively eliminated here at a time in which we see, of course, vulnerability in the Middle East, and at a moment in time in which thousands of career civil servants like Phil Sussman here are now questioning not only their own job, but also the impact it could have very well on the U.S.'s role overseas.
Vaughn Hillyard, live for us outside the White House. Vaughn, thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.